Welcome to an exclusive IdolBored interview with Dallas and Dinah Lewis, the parents of Blake Lewis. We'd like to thank them for taking the time to talk to us. And without further ado, here is IdolBored's Jamaica P, along with Dallas and Dinah.
Thank you very much for agreeing to an interview with us.
Sure.
What I wanted to do mainly in this interview is to focus on you two before Blake even came around as kind of our initial focus. So, starting at the beginning, can you tell me how you two met?
I was just getting hired in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, at a job, adult and child family development, and he was just leaving that job. So he doesn't even remember meeting me. But 2 years later, he asked me out on a date.
I went back to teach school in Post Falls, and she was still working.
So you all started, so were you all from Idaho?
Yes. Originally, I'm from southern Idaho.
No, I'm from Edmonds, Washington, Seattle.
How'd you end up in Idaho?
I was teaching school there. Actually, I lived in high school in Idaho. After my parents died, I lived with an aunt and uncle in southern Idaho. But I came back to Seattle after graduation and went to school here. And then I applied for and got a job teaching in Coeur d'Alene. That's how I ended up meeting Dinah.
Aw. And what subject did you all teach? I'm just asking a few follow-up questions just because I'm curious.
Oh, special ed.
Is that the same for you, Dallas?
Yep, sure is.
Great. Now, Dinah, we know that you used to be in a band, so that seems a little different than your special ed career. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I was in lots of bands.
Oh, wow.
Which one are you interested in?
What was your role? Were you the singer, the guitar player, or?
I was always the lead singer. I started earlier than Blake. I was on TV at 4 and on the radio at 7. And I was always acting out parts of little stories that I read for my family. And I always sang. My mother had a great voice. I don't think she was ever on a stage with it, but I got the music from her and the love of dancing from my dad, who was Welsh, Irish, Norwegian. And so I was in my first band at 14 in Boise, Idaho, lead singer. And then Twin Falls, Idaho, I was in a couple bands. And our bass player died, so then I went into the second band, which was regrouped. And then I moved to Coeur d'Alene, and I was in 2 groups there, and I met him, and he saw me sing on stage. And then over here, I got together with bluegrass players after Blake was born and started doing the Folklife Festival here, which is always Memorial Day weekend at the Seattle Center. And I did that for about 10 years.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so music's always been my life.
Is there any particular kind of music you prefer?
Well, I was a rocker. I had a very strong voice, and I was very loud. And when I came here, I got into, I started out a folk singer, really, on my guitar. I started playing at 14. Then when I got here, I had always loved bluegrass, but had never been around bluegrass people, and I met some, and it made me high just hearing it. So, and the Irish part of bluegrass. So actually, I started doing it, and I had a great time.
Oh, wonderful. Now, Dallas, Blake never talks about your musical abilities. Do you have any?
Yeah, but I don't have a good memory, so I could never sing.
Oh.
For the lyrics. I'd be like too many on the Idol that never made it. I played trumpet and French horn 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. Sophomore year I quit because I didn't like the band teacher. And, of course, I was a 60s teenager and fell in love with rock and roll with the Beatles and Stones and the Doors, and listened to a lot of music, a wide variety of music, too. I'm not too fond of opera, but otherwise I like pretty much all the music. Dinah loves the opera.
Yes.
So I never was a singer, except in the shower or in the car.
Oh.
Excuse me.
So you didn't sing with the family?
Oh, we did if we did Christmas carols and stuff, yeah. But
so one of the things that we've admired about you is that you seem to have done a great job at raising Blake. several of our members, most of our members are in their late 20s, 30s. We do have some that are, early 20s, but a lot of people do have children, and they're undergoing, that kind of early stage of raising their kids and trying to raise them right. And we just wanted to know a little bit about your philosophy of parenting. First of all, what do you think the most important thing you did when you raised Blake? If you could point to one thing that you think you did.
Let him follow his dreams and encourage him to be positive. We don't have any secrets about raising kids. And we did work with special ed too, so we got taught positive reinforcement and how to teach that and use it in teaching. And it's basically the same with raising kids. If you tell your son they're a failure, they're going to be a failure. If you tell them they're a champ, they're going to be a champ. So mostly positive reinforcement.
Now, when did you notice that Blake had musical talent?
Oh, I was going to add my 2 cents to that last question, if I may.
Oh, absolutely.
When he was 3, I got clean and sober. I'm a recovering alcoholic and drug addict, and I just want to say that otherwise I would have been dead. I wouldn't have been around the last 20 years to see Blake. So for me, it was very important that this is a clean and sober household, and it helps with our attitude. We're actually present, There's a lot of parents out there that really aren't present. They might be in the room, but they're not really there with their kids. So to me, that's the most important thing I've done in raising Blake.
Congratulations. I know that that's not an easy thing to do.
On that second part, we noticed he had musical talent always. He was playing spoons in restaurants, terrible 2s turned into traumatic 3s. We pulled him out of a few restaurants for being too noisy. I left the grocery store once because of noise, and, they always put the candy up front by the cashier, which is a nasty trick on parents.
Oh, goodness.
But also, by the time he started walking, he started dancing with the music. So I kind of felt that he had music in him then.
So when you say noise, do you mean he was singing, or do you mean he was just loud?
Both.
How did you encourage his talent?
I played guitar, so I played, even when I was pregnant, I was playing to him, and he saw and watched me play music. I drug him around to bluegrass festivals, and my friends came over and played music. So he was exposed to a lot of guitars and different voices in our home and outside.
And we taught him to follow his dreams, and he was liking music, and he wanted piano lessons, so we bought a piano and let him have piano lessons. When the old piano tuner told him that our piano sucked, he said, we need a new one, and I said, if you promise to take lessons for 5 years, I will. And he did. We bought a new piano, and he took lessons until he was 12 or 13. He kept his word, and we kept ours.
Now, do you have any advice to parents who have a child interested in music?
Yes, let them do it. Encourage them. Doesn't matter what the instrument is or the voice, or if they want to take tap dance or ballet or whatever, that would be their dream.
Follow your dreams.
My father forced me to play the violin when I was 7 until I was 14, when I really wanted to fiddle, and he forced me to play classical music, which I hated. And then when I was 14, I started taking guitar lessons, and I had wasted all those years in orchestra, hating every minute of it. And at 14, I finally got to play an instrument I wanted to play.
Sounds like that is an important thing to actually listen to what your child wants.
Yes, exactly.
All right.